What is going on, Capricorn? Welcome back to the channel, Elevated Spirits. It's Jazi, your favorite Cali reader. This is going to be your new moon reading, what you can look forward to that you may not be expecting for this new moon period that is on July 5th in the sign of Gemini if you follow Western astrology. However, if you follow Vedic, it is in the sign of Taurus. All right, so I hope y'all are doing good. Doing your best to stay as balanced and aligned as possible during these shifts and transits. Also, Saturn went retrograde on June 29th, which was literally a couple days ago. So, you know, that is definitely going to be, I already feel like that's going to be a doozy for some of us. Just because, you know, if you haven't been on your shit, if you haven't been, you know, being disciplined where you know you need to be disciplined, if you haven't been like releasing things that you need to release, if you haven't been taking care of like paying your karmic debts, meaning like, you know, making things right where you need to, letting things go that's necessary, you know, closing out karmic cycles, all that shit. This is that period of review where Saturn is, you know, that's the sign of the planet of structure, discipline, order, you know, things like that. So this is that kind of like review period of, have you been, you know, all this time up until now, have you been, you know, making the adjustments necessary to where your review comes that, you know, you're on the right track. So if you have not, you're definitely going to feel that from Saturn. He's like the father, you know, that, you know, loves us, but it can be tough. It can be tough love. That is what Saturn does. So, looking at the bottoms of your decks, Capricorn, we have some past energy here. It feels like some of you are really being asked to, we also have full moon in Gemini, and this new moon is in Gemini. Like I said, if you follow Western astrology, so I feel like this is like that opposing energy, along with anxiety. So I feel like some of you are maybe this new moon, maybe I feel like having some of you kind of anxious. Okay. And it's going to be important for you to really do your best to kind of go with the flow. You can only control what you can control. And that is how you respond to your circumstances. Okay. You can't control what other people do or how situations really turn out. You know, it's more so of where you put your focus, where you put your attention, because that is what ultimately attracts, you know, what you experience, what you observe in your 3D reality based on the energy that you're putting out, that you're emitting. So I feel like some of you are really being asked to release the past. I also feel like for those of you that find yourself watching a lot of tarot, okay, some of you, that is what's creating anxiety. And I've been there, okay, where before I got to a point where I wasn't necessarily completely trusting my own judgment, my own discernment, my own downloads. I would watch a lot of tarot, right? And I feel like that's a phase that a lot of people go through, not just readers, but those that, you know, use tarot as a form of, or a tool, I should say, of self-development, of, you know, helping build our own intuition. That's kind of like a phase that some of us go through. At least that's what it was for me. So, but I did have to stop that because I noticed how it was making me more anxious. It was turned into kind of like an obsession where I was kind of like doing it, you know, without really, it was kind of like becoming an autopilot type of thing. So if that is something that some of you are experiencing, that is, I feel like, contributing to the anxiety that some of you are feeling right now. So you're really being asked to, you know, kind of cut back on that if that is you, but also allow yourself to have faith in the unfoldment of your journey and where you guys are being asked, like where you're being pushed to go at this time. Okay, it feels like there's some things that's coming up in the past, especially as it relates to your finances, that, you know, may be coming back up, that may be coming back on your radar. So if this is, like, say for an example, let's say opportunity that maybe you got passed up on before because maybe it wasn't time or maybe you weren't in alignment with it, that opportunity is resurfacing during this new moon. So for those of you that are kind of like, I never thought I would get this chance again, this is your time to jump on it. Okay. And that may bring up some anxiety for some of you, but if it's coming up, it's because it's time. It's because you're ready for it. It's because it's like the universe is giving you another chance at something. So it's going to be up to you what you do with it. So let's see. I also feel like for those of you that are finding yourself in a lower vibration, you do have angels and guides that are here trying to support you, trying to help you, trying to, you know, basically get you further, like kind of like help you, support you, and getting back on the horse, getting back on the wagon, 444 on the timer. It's like you guys have divine protection around you, but you do have to ask like for that, you know, it's like you have to give them permission to respond and act on your behalf. They're not just going to do it for you. So For those of you that may have lower vibrational energies or are finding yourself in a toxic situation, that could also be contributing to the anxiety that some of you are feeling at this time. So that's just something to be mindful of. If it applies, you know, put it where it fits. Otherwise, if it's not your message, please leave it for those that it's meant for. All right. And I say that for all the messages. Okay. So get into your unexpected. I haven't looked at any of these cards yet. So as much as it's a surprise for you, it will be for me as well. So what is this new moon bringing in that some of you may not be expecting? So we have last quarter moon in Aries. Work through your feelings. All right. We also have 5 attachment. Okay. We also have hex banishment. This is very telling already. We have what is being activated for you is higher heart activation, dropping shields, divine love. Your heart is healed. Okay. We also have focus. You're being asked to shift your focus away from what isn't working towards what is. Paying extra attention to where you place your focus is the first step towards creating an amazing life. We just basically was talking about that. And as it pertains to your finances that you may not be expecting is luck, which is a very beautiful thing. Some of you have maybe been anxious about your finances or about money or, you know, as it relates to your stability, things like that. You know, luck is here for you. It feels like there's a positive shift that's taking place here for you. So your luck is about to change for the better. You could get a lucky break, some financial breakthrough. Anything you do now will be very prosperous for you. And that's kind of giving me what I was talking about here with this past energy, is that some of you may have an idea that is coming back around for you to take some type of action on. But others of you, this could be something that maybe you invested in some time ago that's finally now ripening to the point where you can actually, reap some type of reward from it, whether it's financial or, you know, just, I don't know, however that fits for you. So what this feels like, Capricorn, is this really feels like this Saturn retrograde energy here, to be honest with you. It feels like some of you definitely have some type of lower vibrational energy that may be attached to you at this time, that may be trying to make its place in your experience at this time, or it's kind of like making itself aware. Okay. It feels like for some of you, if this is something you were unaware of, others of you, this is something that you maybe just have been ignoring, or you're really not sure about or clear about where this energy is coming from, maybe what this anxious energy is. Some of you have people around you that are envious. Okay. For some of you, that is exactly what this energy is, but it's because you have an attachment that is in that envious energy, which is, you know, that energy that is projected. That's why it's being reflected. So for some of you, there's a need here during this new moon, as well as because the new moon is about planting new seeds, right? Setting, you know, new intentions. How do you want to move going forward? But also considering how Saturn is now in retrograde, okay, and where that you may want to check and see what house that is, you know, where that house is for you, how to see how it's affecting you the most during this time. But it feels like there are some things that are coming up at this time with this last quarter moon in Aries that are related to your feelings that may be stopping you from taking sort of, you know, some sort of action. So for some of you, it's something that's keeping you in a codependent type of energy, because Aries is a very fiery, passionate, independent type of energy, right? But if you have things that are attached to you, if you notice in this card, she has a, trying to get the best angle here. She has a chain here that's tied to her hand, that's tied on this, you know, post here. And so for some of you, whatever this attachment is that some of you, I feel like, are needing to banish out of your experience. Okay. It may be a hex that has been placed upon you, and it could be generational. It could be, you know, due to a past connection, something like that. But whatever that is for you, it's creating problems right now. And some of you, that's something you picked up on by being in, you know, in a low vibrational state that allows you to be susceptible to such things. Okay. And so for some of you, as you work through whatever feelings that you have, maybe about a person, about a past situation, a connection, you know, whatever that is what's going to help you ultimately release the attachment, which will then also position you to banish off whatever these energies are that's creating anxiety, or that's keeping you stuck, that's keeping you in this lower vibrational energy, that's making you susceptible to such things. Because as you start to banish off negativity or negative energies or attachments, things like that, that is a very vulnerable place to be in. Because when you essentially cut energetic cords that especially are attached to other people or other energies or entities, they can feel that detachment. They can feel that, you know, that they're not getting that same pull of energy. It's kind of like if you're running, like, say you plug something into the wall, right? And it's around the corner in another room, And so when that cord is unplugged, you'll notice the energy die off in wherever you're using that device, right? And then so it'll make you go back to where it's plugged in at to find out why that energy stopped. It's either slowed down or it stopped completely. So this is the same type of thing. So I feel like for some of you, it's really important for you. That's why it's important for you to work through whatever is coming up for you during this period, because that's what's going to help you come out of that energy ultimately that's keeping you attached to things, or keeping things, you know, wanting to attach to you and siphon your energy. Okay. So it's really ultimately trying to support you in activating your higher heart. Your higher heart. It's helping you heal your heart. It's helping you drop your shields that are kind of like barricading your heart for some of you. Some of you have, and that's, I feel like for a lot of you, why, you know, these cards came out like this, you know. And if you notice, these are two very different decks, right? But the coloring here is very, very similar. Okay, there's a lot of pink and gold going on here on both of them. And so I feel like it's no mistake of why those cards came out the way they did. You know, just by me just shuffling randomly, letting spirit, you know, speak through the cards. It feels like that's what this is about. This is like all coming up to help you heal your heart. 1111 on the timer. So for some of you, this is like opening, makes sense, portal energy. Okay. So for some of you, this is maybe preparing you for the 1111 portal that is coming up in November. Speaking of November, I forgot to say this earlier. Saturn comes out of retrograde on November 15th. Okay. Literally, so they're 4 days after the 1111 portal that Saturn goes direct again. So I feel like for some of you, that is, you know, why this is maybe coming up for you at this time. So you guys have, you know, a good amount of, you know, time to work through these energies and release what is no longer serving you, release what has been holding you down, especially when it comes to your heart space, because that is the center that must have the clearing for you to, you know, manifest what you want on a soul level, no matter what it is, whether it's love, money, opportunities, just, you know, being happy in life, being content with life and in general, all that stuff. It has to come through the heart space, you know, for it to be projected into your actual 3D reality. So it feels like you guys are really being asked to, you know, focus on the things that are in your experience, you know, especially that you feel like you're attached to, or that's holding you down or constricting you or binding you in some type of way. You're being asked to really focus on what those things are. Allow yourself to really look at them. And I know that can be scary, but that's the only way to really, you know, move beyond it and release them, is by identifying what they are. You know, it's like you'll never know that a room really didn't have a bunch of ghosts and monsters in it if you never took a flashlight and opened the door and went in to see. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes we have to just really bear and grit our, you know, really just dig down deep and step into your power, be confident and courageous in that way, and look at the things that we have not been wanting to look at. So, you know, in order to move forward. So let's get some tarot on this and see what else is going on for you guys as it pertains to this new moon that's happening on July 5th. Let's see what's going on for my Capricorns. And also have a couple cards flipped over here for some advice to round out and close out your reading. So let's see. For Capricorn, what do they need to know? Maybe what's they're not expecting coming through for this new moon for Capricorn, please. What's going on that they may not be expecting? Messages with high good only for those that are watching. I feel like that was the Three of Wands I tried to peek out. Let's see what it was. Yep. So it didn't come out, but that's the Three of Wands. Okay, that's trying to, you know, try to come out. So that's like, it's like, so it's giving me the energy of like the universe is trying to deliver your blessings. It's trying to support you in whatever it is that you've been asking for. But there are some things that it feels like some of you are needing to release in order to make room for those things to come in, Capricorn. So obviously that's going to be different for all of you, and that's always your choice. You can choose to, you know, keep out the things that you've been asking for, but then at the same time, it's like you're asking and then getting mad at the universe about why it's not there yet. That's a personal thing. You have to make room for what you're asking for. So it's like trying to fit a whole big old brand new couch, but you don't want to get rid of the old couch. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You have to release one to make room for the other until you're in a place to where you have maybe enough room, right, to have both. But sometimes it's really just a matter of getting rid of the old to make room for the new. You don't need to, right? Look at that. Coming up in your own reading, Capricorn. Okay, so like I said, some of you, this is your own energy getting in your way. Some of you, this is that lower vibrational energy here that you're being asked to release and let go of. Some of you, it's a very toxic situation, a very codependent situation. Others of you, this is fears that you have that are ultimately blocking you. Fears of success for some of you, fears of maybe how they say the other shoe dropping, where, you know, it's kind of like you're like something good happens and you're like, when is it going to end? When is something bad going to happen? Like, it can't just be good and stay good, right? Something always will fuck it up, right? Some of you, that's the limiting belief that is creating attachments that some of you are needing to release and let go of. So let's see what else. Some of you, like I said, this is your own ego, your own shadow that's standing in the way. Okay, 8 of Pentacles. So it may have to do with something you're working on. Some of you are scared to put out your work. There's a fear around work. Some of you have a way too much of a codependency on money, on finances, on resources. Some of you are, you know, too codependent on the material realm, and that is exactly what the devil represents: the underworld, the 3D world, the material realm. Where if you're that creates imbalance. Where if we focus way too much on the 3D and not enough on our spiritual part, which is the 5D, then that automatically, you know, will definitely create imbalance. So we have the Ace of Wands here as well. So let's see, what else? Capricorn. The World, beautiful. Let's get overall outcome. Capricorn. Ten of Pentacles. I love to see it. I love to see it. So at the bottom, we have the Star. So like I said, Capricorn, it's like the universe is trying to bless you. The universe is trying to get you back on track, trying to really align you to your destiny. But it's going to be up to you to really step into that energy and put in the focus towards your North Node. And that's also what the Star represents, is, you know, your higher guidance. Whereas, you know, not only maintaining your faith in what it is you're asking for, maintaining your faith in, you know, whatever wishes or, you know, requests you've sent out to the universe, but also making sure that you're doing your part and being in alignment towards those things to make room for it to come in. Okay, so it feels like you guys definitely have a new opportunity that is coming up here. Some of you, if you've been feeling like low energy, where you haven't been like having the action, like the motivation, the drive, or the energy to take action on something, it's like that's going to be restored. That's coming back to you. But like I said, you're really being asked to work through any feelings that are coming up for you at this time. Because if we're, you know, letting these things come up, but we're really not acknowledging them, they're just if we're ultimately pushing it back down, all it's going to do is resurface at a different time. And a lot of times it comes back up at the most inopportune time, meaning at the worst time is when you find yourself just breaking down or having a meltdown, right? And that's because if we, you know, these things come up when they need to, and we try to push them down and suppress them, we don't want to look at it, right? They'll go back down, but they will come back up at some point as well. So I feel like it's really ultimately giving you an opportunity to close out a cycle that for some of you has been long overdue. It's something that, you know, has been ongoing for far too long, for long enough for some of you. Obviously, it's not going to be, you know, for all of you, but, you know, for those that makes sense. It's like the universe is trying to support you in bringing you new opportunities, bringing you the success and wish fulfillment that some of you have been asking for. Some of you have been really asking for, you know, generational wealth, legacy, abundance, you know, wanting to leave a legacy behind for your kids, for your family, you know, whatever. It's like the universe is trying to line things up to, you know, to provide, you know, what you're asking for. But it's like, this is the headliner of the reading. This is the head fucking liner of the reading. So it's like, if you're, you know, letting your fears, your insecurities, your doubts get in the way, keep you from taking action, that's going to stop everything else from flowing. Okay. You know, the same thing is if you're letting your ego make decisions for you, if you're making decisions out of fear, you're making decisions out of greed, out of, you know, just trying to prove people wrong or, you know, make a point, that it's like all those things are all lower vibrational and they're not going to be in alignment with what you're asking for. But it's not to say, you know, that you're not worthy of having what you're asking for. It's just not being in that, on that same vibrational frequency to allow it in. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you can't watch one show. You can't watch, let's say, Criminal Minds on this channel while still being tuned into this channel. It's like you have to turn to that channel, right, to watch that show. You're not going to see it on this channel because that's not what's playing right now. So, but it doesn't mean that you can't switch over. It's still going to be playing. And that's how, you know, a lot of this holographic reality works. all the channels are still going at the same time. You just have to choose and decide what program, right, you want to be tuned into. What show do you want to watch? And that's what our lives really are. We're the main characters of our lives, of our, what you can call your life as a movie or a show. You're the main character. So it's all about, what do you feel like watching? You know, are you tuned in to the frequency that you really most want to experience right now? Okay. So let's get some advice, see what your spirit guides have for advice for you. Ooh, interesting. So we have card number 1, yang energy here. Okay, so this is your masculine energy. So this is about taking action. This is about being in alignment, you know, taking action on what you're being open to receive. Okay. You know, it's like I feel like some of you have gotten the wisdom. You've got it through maybe a reading where you're now clear about what needs to happen. So now this is about, what are you going to do about it? Now it's time to put into action. Now it's time to, you know, put your best foot forward and, you know, make things happen in whatever way, you know, you're guided to. All right. And for some of you, it's a breakup for some of you. For some of you, it's something that you've been maybe holding on to for far too long, and it's over, it's done. Some of you, it may be coming up as like what you may perceive as a loss, but a loss is never that unless you choose it to be, unless you choose to perceive it that way. You know, a loss is simply making room for something better, something more aligned. Okay. Nothing lasts forever anyway. So for some of you, this is about taking action to change your state. Some of you have been asking for change in your circumstances, in your life, in your experience, but it's requiring you to take some sort of action that some of you maybe, like I said, have been refusing to take. So now is your point of opportunity that you're going to stay stuck, tied, and bound until you choose that I want to experience something different. I'm willing to take the actions necessary to do something different. I'm willing to put in the work, take the action, close out the cycle in order to gain all the prosperity, wealth, and abundance that I know, so, you know, because of my birthright, I deserve. Okay. So, is that it, Spirit? Is that it? That is it. All right. So, ooh, interesting. And underneath the star, we have the Lovers. So for some of you, it's like once you let go, close out this cycle that some of you have been holding on to, once you allow yourself to really open up to love that you know you deserve, when you come to realize that other situations in the past that didn't work out were only trying to teach you something, that's what makes room for something you've been wishing for: true love, harmony, equally yoked connections. Okay, some of you, that's what's aligned here, but it's like you can't allow it in if you're not willing to let go of what didn't work or of what is trying to leave, because you've learned you've gained everything you were meant to gain from that situation, that connection, that experience. So it's like, you know, really just a matter of being open to release the old to make room for the new. So Capricorn, I really hope this reading was helpful. If it was, if you did resonate at all, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I'd really appreciate if you just like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, you guys, howdy.